How's it going, everyone? It's Johnny Bede here with another episode of the Streamer Stories podcast. My guest today is the absolutely brilliant Lunar Lizzy.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. Yay! Oh, I'm so happy you're here. How are you doing? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, it's been a long week, but I'm here now. So yeah, you feel the same.
Yeah, I feel like January went really fast, but I feel like February is like, how is it only 10 days in? It feels like it's been 10 years of February. I'm tapping my arm, you can't see the watch. There isn't a watch on, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, it's February now. I don't know when this episode's coming out, but yeah, it's February now. Yeah. It's a Sunday randomly in a month in the future. That's what it is. So
yes, it is.
yes. So yeah, Lizzy, I was doing this before as well on our DMs. I was like, I can't believe I called you Luna. It's so weird. I'm so sorry, but Lizzy, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us where we can find you socials wise?
Oh, okay. So hello, my name is Lunar Lizzy, but please just call me Lizzy. So I am a variety streamer, but I tend to lean a lot heavier into JRPGs, survival horror, and I much prefer retro over modern gaming, she says with a PS5 in the background, but ignore it, it's not there. Okay. So my favorite franchises or series are Resident Evil, Final Fantasy, and Silent Hill. My socials, well, they are I am Lunar Lizzy. I think on everything now. Someone stole the Lunar Lizzy handle. I'm watching you. So yeah, if you want to pop on over, I'm there on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and obviously I stream on Twitch 3 to 4 nights a week. So yeah, it would be great to see you if you want to pop on over and say hello.
Awesome, perfect. And you also YouTube as well. I mean, you do that sporadically. Is it once a week? What's your YouTube as well?
Okay, so I have a YouTube channel, and I am trying to decide what to do with it. So I got YouTube partner just by uploading my VODs to YouTube. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say it's all because I'm great. Oh, I worked so hard. I think it's mainly because my what's the word? My agenda on Twitch for a long time was Final Fantasy first playthroughs. So they are very popular on YouTube. So I'm not sat here like, woo, you're so great. You worked so hard. It was pure luck. I have a lot of shorts that go on there. I did try streaming on there for a little bit, but it's kind of taken the back seat for now. And there are some changes coming to the YouTube channel because I actually want to utilize it a bit more. At the moment, it's just an archive. It's full of unedited stuff. So you see every thought that goes through this head and every gust of wind that goes through my head as well on there. But I want to tidy it up and make it a little bit more professional and an actual place to go, not just an archive channel. But yes, that's what we've got over on YouTube at the moment.
Awesome.
It's a work in progress.
There we go. So yeah, everyone get following Lizzy. She's brilliant, honestly. And like you ticked all of my boxes, like RPGs, horror, Final Fantasy, Silent Hill, Oh yes. So we've got so much in common. We were saying as well offline, weren't we? So
but hell yes, I think strong story-based gaming is where it's at.
That's for sure.
Strong story-based gaming is like where my heart is, and I think it's where a lot of people's heart is, and I think it's a really good place to start with streaming on Twitch.
There we go. Definitely things we're going to be talking about for sure. But let's talk about beginnings. So, do you have like first memories of video games? Do you remember what that was like? What was the first thing you saw, or what was memories?
As a child, I grew up in a really, really, I'm not using this in a derogatory way, in a really nerdy household.
Nice.
My dad and my mum's brother, so my uncle, were very much so into consoles, console modding. Even I was born in 93, so this is like the 90s, like, console modding, PC building. Obviously, it's the 90s. There ain't no snazzy graphic cards, all right? My mum was very much so into reading fantasy novels and all of that jazz. So it was very much so a very nerdy household. Lots of Terry Pratchett, Stephen King. Oh my God, I got a pop up on my screen. There we go. And all that sort of jazz in my household. So we were very much so into escapism and all that jazz. Probably the earliest console I remember would be the Nintendo 64.
All right.
I know we had older ones like the Super Nintendo previously, but that's one of my first memories of gaming. And I can't remember the exact wrestling game on there, but there was a WWE game on there, and it's gone into my memory, this WWE wrestling game, Resident Evil 2 and Diddy Kong Racing.
Wow, what a trilogy.
Yeah, what a strange mixture of games for a small child. And my cousins used to come around on a Sunday. Every single Sunday they would come around. We would clean the house, go do the food shopping with my mom. Wait, that sounds awful. We would clean the house with my mom. She wasn't just there enforcing child labor. Sorry, Mom. And then we'd all be whilst dinner was being made, we'd all sit there and hang out and inevitably fight on Diddy Kong Racing and then play GoldenEye Big Head mode against each other. So that's probably like my earliest memories of like games, consoles, and stuff in my house. But probably the clearest memory in my head would be being exposed to Resident Evil far too young.
Yeah.
The Resident Evil 1. That zombie is chowing down on I can't remember his name. I can't remember. I am so bad with names.
Right, beginning with Leon. Well, it's both, isn't it? It's when
the zombie is chowing down.
How have I forgotten his name? Right? Kendo.
No, Resident Evil 1.
Resident Evil 1. Oh goodness. Kenneth.
We played 2 first, then number 1.
No, it's Forrest.
So that zombie is chowing down on that dude, and then you walk around the corner and you get that opening cinematic of it turning around, and it's horrifying. That is probably like that's a gaming, like the first gaming scene that is like burnt into my memory. And I just remember just screaming my head off. My parents were like, maybe she's too young.
Maybe.
Maybe. But yeah, so that's probably like my earliest scene. But my fondest and earliest memories of playing games would be Diddy Kong Racing and GoldenEye with my cousin.
Wow, goodness. We're talking about Nintendo 64. I think wrestling games, it might be No Mercy, because that was like the big Nintendo 64 game. I never had a Nintendo 64, but I was a big wrestling fan, and I had all the SmackDown games. But when I was hearing about this WWF No Mercy game, was the best wrestling game of all time, so it might have been that. And the one thing you've mentioned there that I love, and it's such a 90s thing, and we don't get it anymore, and I think you should bring it back, is Big Head mode. We don't have games with Big Head mode anymore. What's up with that?
No, we don't have games with like mods like installed like that. Like we get like pretty mods for Skyrim and Fallout. Like look at the size of my forehead. Give this girl a Big Head mode, please.
Filters on stream.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I just remember Big Head mode and little tiny people mode and stuff like that. It's the same with Unreal Tournament 2004. I remember playing that a lot on my dad's PC and playing that with all of the little teeny people running around and loading up my rocket launcher 1, 2, 3 and just blowing everybody's smithereens. It was really good fun. really good fun.
Yeah. And you mentioned Resident Evil 2 on the Nintendo 64, which again, there's a lot of trivia about it being like insane that game was actually built to be able to play it on Nintendo 64. Did you play it a lot growing up, or was it more visual? Did you watch it? How was you with Resident 2?
That would definitely, most Resi games, it would definitely be watching them. The games that I like to play were like Tekken, GoldenEye, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I like to play and bash. I like to sit behind a pillow going, I'm not scared. I'm grown up enough to watch these games. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't send me to bed.
Oh, man. But yeah, the vivid memories of Resident Evil 1. Yeah, I remember them. It was the dog jumping through the window for me that got me.
Oh yeah.
That was like the nope. I don't know what. Oh God.
The panic pause, and then once you pause the game, you've got to get the courage up to be like, and pause.
Yeah.
Pause. I can do this.
Yeah, 100%.
Sorry, I sit like a gremlin, so I'm a bit fidgety. I do apologise.
No, you're fine. Yeah, another Resident Evil 2 moment that was like a nope pause moment for me was the first time I watched and played bits of Resi 1, and my main first Resi game was 2. So when I first saw the spiders in the sewer for 2, they were so big, because the first one you see is so big, right close to the screen, so it looks bigger than it actually is. But even if it is massive. And I was like, oh no.
Oh no. You see, I remember as well. Like it was my mum that mainly played the survival horror, and my dad and my uncle mainly played like the shooty games, like GoldenEye, and like they would play the racing games with me. My uncle was dope at Spyro the Dragon. So I remember watching my mum play Silent Hill, and poor Lisa.
Oh yeah, I know.
Lisa.
And again, when it comes to cosplays, by the way, check out Lizzy's cosplay. Oh, amazing cosplay of Lisa.
Thank you. Oh my god, that Lisa and Marvin turning. Oh my god, they're just like burnt into my memory as a child, being like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this is happening."
Yeah, for sure.
And again,
for sure.
my mom going, "Do you need to go to bed?" And I'm like,
"Oh man." So where was PlayStation 1 then? So you had the Nintendo 64. You've mentioned some PlayStation 1 games there. So did that come at similar time or after? Or
I don't really remember too much in the timeline. I can't remember even Goldfish. But I remember I think the first game we played on PlayStation 1, I think, was one of the Tekken games. I can't remember which one it was. It was definitely one of the Tekken games. So we went from like Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and then I actually went to Xbox 360. I didn't actually have a PlayStation 3 for so long, and oh my god, I went through so many Xbox 360s. The Red Ring of Death drove me crazy.
yeah,
Oh god, I'm trying to think how old I must have been when the Xbox 360 was around. But I was obsessed with Fable 2, being as evil as I could because your character grew horns. I was a teenager. I was definitely a teenager. Gears of War series. I was in a Gears of War. So right, I don't play first-person shooters anymore. Like I have the reaction time of a snail. It's just not going to happen. But when I was in high school, I was in a Gears of War clan.
yeah.
And like we used to do not official tournaments and stuff like that, because I don't really think like, I guess it would be classed as esports now, maybe. I don't really think esports was like a huge thing then, but we used to do like clan tournaments, and there was like forums online where you'd go on and organize them all. And oh my god, it was so fun. It was like, I used to remember racing home from like school and college at some points as well, and feeling like, "Mom, I need dinner. I need to be on. I need to be on for the team." And like now I think back to it, like this, like 15 to probably, I think it was a few years, because there was like Gears of War 1, 2, and 3 that we played all the way through. I must have been about 15, 14 to about 18. This 15-year-old girl is racing home to go and play Gears of War with a bunch of like men in their 40s, all on voice chat, and everyone will be like, "Yo, you're like 10." And I used to be like, "No, I'm not." And now, obviously, being an adult, I can see how I probably sounded like I was 10 years old.
Oh,
But
goodness
yeah,
me.
we've had a very strange gaming experience in my life. We've been here, there, and everywhere.
Oh wow, yeah. I'd imagine, yeah. I mean, so yeah, if you were those ages then with Xbox coming out, because I'm slightly a bit older. So with that, I mean, yeah, did you get much abuse, or was that something that didn't happen, or I mean, that's
It didn't really happen, to be honest.
At least I've heard stories. Obviously, there's lots of stories, as you know, I'm sure. Yeah, I was interested to know that.
Yeah, but, it was quite good, I think. I tried to always stay in like private chats with with like the clan.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Yeah.
And stuff like that. So we always try to keep it into like private chats rather than public chats and stuff like that. And even though they're all like grown adult men, they were well aware that I was obviously like a teenage girl and stuff like that. So if people were mean and stuff like that, they got kicked out of the clan and stuff like that. There were some other girls on there as well. It was really fun.
Yeah.
We all eventually like kind of dispersed and stuff like that, which is a bit of a shame, because I feel like now if we were to all be like, "Hi," I feel like they'd be like, "What the fuck? Oh, am I allowed to swear?"
Yeah, you can swear.
So
yeah. Yeah, totally. But you bring a very interesting point. Like, obviously, we're streamers now, and it's so much easier to kind of find people. Whereas, yeah, there was those times, wasn't it? Like I was a massive Left 4 Dead guy.
Oh yeah.
I love Left 4 Dead, and I wouldn't say I had like clans or crews or anything like that, but I did, like, if I was like in a Left 4 Dead like multiplayer and there was like one or two people that you just find this like bit of bond with, because I mean I didn't have voice chat, so I was just mute. But like I'd consider adding them on the Xbox, so that way I'd send them like an invite or whatever. Like those people, like they're gone from my life forever now because whereas in
And you spend
streaming,
so much time with them. It's so strange, isn't
yeah,
it? I think it's like camaraderie.
yeah,
I think that's the right sort of term for it, camaraderie. You
yeah.
know?
I think we're getting better at that now. Whereas back in those days, it was almost anonymous, really, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
So
for sure. You don't know who you're talking to and stuff like that. There's no Discord. There's no voice. Well, there's no VC, I guess, where how we are sat right now. There's none of that back then. I think X360 had a webcam, but I think it was really expensive. I can't remember. And I know
yeah,
they had the Connect, and I think that could be used for it as well. But again, my parents were very much so like, you don't know who's the other side of the screen. I think not. And I was like, right, sorry. My parents were very much so, you can do what you want, you can play games online, you can chit chat, but the games consoles were always downstairs in the living room. The games consoles were never upstairs. It was never a case of like, oh my god, she's up all night talking to strangers on the internet. No. They were there and they were just like chilling and stuff. We don't have a huge house, so the PC used to be in the living room as well. So they'd sit on the PC and stuff like that, or they'd go in the kitchen. But I was always in earshot. It was always safe.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
think as well that's maybe what's missing nowadays in online play for young kids. Like everyone is so it's accessible, and it's great that it's accessible. But you hear some of the like viral Twitter clips of like 12 to I don't know 40, shockingly enough, year olds being incredibly sexist and racist and awful. And I think it's just the fact that there's nobody there in front of them for them
Yeah.
to feel embarrassed in front of, and a little bit of humility, I guess. I guess that's what it is. So I am very grateful that my parents were like, you can do what you want on the games console, but we're going to be in the room. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I think that's a line of trust as well for us all. And I think it just taught me a lot about respecting them, that they would let me take over the living room for hours of playing some shooty games, blowing out the speakers out the TV. But, and that's where it comes from, very supportive, very good trust bond there.
Fantastic. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there any like video game stories growing up that you haven't mentioned yet that come to mind? Like, did you play? So you mentioned obviously parents, and you've also mentioned other family members. I think in brief, is there any good bonding moment that you remember of playing games with your friends or family?
Let me think. So I have an auntie and her husband at the time. We used to always go to their house. And hang out. They had two older sons. One is, I think, about 6 years older, and I think one's about 10, 11 years older than me. And we used to have a great time there, and they had consoles upstairs. This is before like online plays. This is like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 sort of times. I know PlayStation 2 you could go online with certain games, but it was too far. It was too ahead of its time. Whatever. Let's discount it. It's a completely offline system as far as I'm concerned. And I just remember going round one night. They had a TV. They had a huge open plan living room. They set one TV up, and then they'd set up another TV next to it, and there was a TV in the dining room. And I just remember we set up like a little Tekken tournament.
Oh wow! Oh, that's amazing.
Obviously, just with everybody as like a family and stuff like that. And basically, they wanted to get the older boys out of the room, and teenage boys don't want to exactly come downstairs and hang out with their little cousins and their aunties and their uncles. Oh, we're moving. They're too cool. They're too cool for that sort of stuff. So the best way to do it was by bribing them with video games.
Yeah, always works every time. Oh
Absolutely,
wow! Sounds like an epic Tekken tournament. I wish I was part of
it. Yeah, for sure. I'm very, very lucky to come from quite a cool family. My mum is one of 9 children,
Wow.
so they're very much So they're very, very much so used to trying to get the whole family involved in things, and making sure that everybody hangs out with each other and stuff. So it's really, really nice. It's just nice that they chose to do it via video games, not like paint by numbers or something.
Yeah, for sure. So who's your Tekken go to? And do you play much Tekken now?
So I kind of it fell off a little bit. I'm not. I when obviously online gaming became a thing, it was less about fighting games for me, and it was more about like Gears of War was my jam. Like I played a little bit of Halo, but I was like, yeah, Gears, I love this, I love it. So it did sort of fall off around Tekken 6, maybe.
Okay, yeah,
But
yeah.
I absolutely adore my two favorite characters are Nina Williams. Like, oh my god, have you seen her? Have you seen her for Tekken 8?
Yes, she looks
I am ready
great.
back into it. I am so hella heckin' ready to fail, but I'm ready. I'm gonna try my best. Oh, what's his name? Brian Fury.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah,
I'm Team Brian.
it's quite interesting actually. My two favorite characters, one favors punching and one favors kicking.
Okay, yeah. I can see that. Yeah,
In like Tekken 3, it was all about Nina's kicks. I mean, obviously she does like that power punch thing, but it was all about like the length that you could get on the kick with her freaking huge 7-foot long legs. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
obviously, and it's all about the punching and stuff. So yeah, they were like my duo. Like Tekken Tag was
Oh
like
yeah,
my dream Tekken because I was like, oh, I could play as two at the same time. You know what I mean? In one
yeah,
match. Oh my god! And a few months ago, I actually watched a Tekken anime on Netflix. That was interesting. That was interesting.
yeah. I've not
Um,
seen that.
yeah,
I watched the
yeah.
Tekken movie, as in the real live action one.
Oh gosh, I've not seen that one.
Yeah,
Video game movies, but series are doing well. But you know what I mean.
yeah. Oh, but nice to hear another person talking about Brian Fury. He doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion. I absolutely love Brian. He's my favorite.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he's really, really speedy and he hits really, really hard and he's just funny.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
just sickler. Like he gets kicked and he's like, you're
yeah,
like, are you alright? Are you okay? He's like so unhinged, but
yeah,
he's really, really, really cool. I know a lot of people love like Jin and they love Law and they love spamming Eddie's breakdancing moves. I mean, they're cool. You know, they're good cheesy characters if you want to cheese your way to the top. But yeah, I love Brian and Nina.
yeah.
Um, that was probably like the main fighting game I grew up with. I really love Soul Calibur 2 on the GameCube though.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah.
my god, it's so good. I love it. I love the story. I love the fact that it just feels never ending. It's fantastic. But recently on New Year's Eve, I discovered a SNES game called Killer Instinct.
Okay, yeah.
My life. It's changed my life. I'm obsessed with it. It's so good. It's so like simple that I was never really a Street Fighter kind of gal.
Okay, yeah,
I
yeah.
I like to button bash. I like right these two buttons punch and kick, punch punch. These two buttons kick kick. But Street Fighter, you need to like obviously have your inputs. You need to know what you're doing and stuff like that. And I'm not I'm not fast enough. I'm not fast enough. But Killer Instinct was great. Killer Instinct was so so good. And I got raided by Justin Wong on New Year's Eve,
Oh
which is
wow.
who's like a wow. Never heard of him. Because as I said, I don't really keep up with fighting games or anything like that. He's like the biggest. He's like a huge competitive fighting game player, like professional. And it was so embarrassing because everyone was like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
and I was just like, I'm quite silly on my streams. If someone says, I bet you won't do this, do this, I'm like, watch
Watch
me.
me.
So I'm there in a green inflatable massive pea suit, playing Killer Instinct, getting raided by Justin Wong. Everyone's going crazy. The chat is going wild, and I'm just going, I'm really, really sorry. I don't really know what's going on. Welcome to my stream. My name is Lunar Lizzy, and everyone's like, shut up. Just shut up. Just play the game. And I'm just like, I thought what's going on? And everyone's like, Lizzy, be cool. And like my follower alert is, hey Lizzy, you just got a new follower. Be cool, be cool. And like all my mods were just like, God, this is so embarrassing. And I was like, oh dear me. Oh no. Oh God. Oh God. And like I still didn't know who he was. And in my mod chat, I was like, so what's going on? Because even my mod chat on Discord was like, what? Oh my God. And I was like, who is this person? And they were like, just Google it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. In my big bear in mind, I'm just going like, hi, my name's Jessie, welcome to my stream. Dressed in a giant green inflatable pea suit.
Wow, yeah. What a story. Oh my god.
I know.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Why do they do this happen to me when I'm dressed as a giant pea.
I won't mention names, but one of a streamer friend of mine got raided by the wrestler Adam Cole. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know. If you know Adam Cole, I mean, yeah, you know. Oh, awesome dude. He was playing Resident Evil 1 remake, and my streamer friend was playing it, and he was like, "Oh, let's find someone who's playing it." Oh, there's this. I don't mind saying gender. So there's this girl playing it. Guys, just go over to her stream and just give her a load of love, type of thing. And yeah, she just gets raided. She got like over 300 follows, loads of bits and subs and all sorts, and her mind was just blown. She's just
wild, right?
It's insane. Yeah.
I hope she knew who he was.
I think she kind of knew. She was partially a wrestling fan, but yeah, she was also partially like, oh my god, because because the wrestling fans started joining her stream. She's got some wrestling sound alerts like Stone Cold and stuff, so they were just spamming her sound alert. So, wow, yeah.
So yeah, fighting games when I was growing up were like a big thing, but they did fall off when I discovered like online gaming and stuff like that. They did fall off then. So yeah, it's a shame, but now Tekken 8 looks dope, and I'm gonna give it a go. Everyone in my community was like, "Lizzy, you talk about how much you love Tekken. Show us." I was like, "You can love something and not be very good at it, you know."
That's true. And there's also, I mean, and some games just play better offline, don't they? That's the thing as well. Not saying Tekken's one, just saying in general.
I think we're going to do like a Discord tournament if people can get their hands on it, because obviously it is going to be expensive, but if they can, it will be really, really fun. It will be really fun, because a lot of people were like, Tekken or Street Fighter, and for ages I was like, yeah, Street Fighter. Then Tekken got announced, and I was like, me. I was like, Tekken.
I'm a Tekken guy. I like Street Fighter, but I'm Tekken for life, really.
Hell yeah.
So we're just talking about offline games. So what are you playing at the moment? So online, offline, what are you playing at the moment?
Okay, so on stream, I'm playing Final Fantasy V for the first time. And off stream, so I streamed Bayonetta 1 a few months ago, a couple of weeks ago now, maybe before Christmas, I don't know. I streamed it recently, and I had a really, really good time until I got to the final stream. It just got taken over by know-it-alls, people that knew everything. They weren't even so much as like backseating. They were just sending like whole massive like paragraphs and paragraphs. And like if I missed the message, like Bayonetta is a very fast-paced game, very fast-paced. It does require a bit of skill. You can't button mash in Bayonetta, no way. So I'm trying to focus on chat as well, but there's literally huge chunks of paragraphs going up. And I was like, I'm really sorry for missed your messages. So they just kept sending them again and again and again. And the mod squad were amazing. They were like, but like literally you went on one and just 4 more appeared. So I didn't really fully enjoy the final of Bayonetta, so I've been playing that a bit offline. I'm playing it on my Switch. I love my Nintendo Switch, okay? I'm very lazy. I am so lazy. As you can see, I'm so fidgety as well. There is nothing I love more than resting my little head in my bed with my little Moogle and just booting up my Nintendo Switch. Exactly, right?
He's so cute.
I mean? And my Willem Dafoe.
Yes.
I gotta get a shout out for Willem Dafoe.
Shout out to Willem Dafoe.
So I've been playing Bayonetta offline, a second playthrough to try and really enjoy it a bit better. My dad recently picked up gaming again because it did fall off. He's getting a bit older now. It's expensive. Gaming nowadays is very expensive and stuff like that. So it did fall off. I streamed Dark Souls and he was like, I can do that. So he started playing Dark Souls and he was like, oh, I can't do this. Can you help me? So we worked through it together offline, and we worked through Dark Souls 3. We haven't finished it. We're so stuck. But basically, we've just found this newfound joy of kind of, I've just died. You take over. I just died. You take over. So we've been playing as well a little bit of the first God of War. He's actually doing great on that. He's not needing as much help, which is a bit annoying because I'm just like, give me the controller. And we've been doing some Dark Souls 2 as well. So it's a mixture of Dark Souls 2, Bayonetta offline, and Final Fantasy V online. Wow. I like a good old mix.
Definitely, yeah. When we mentioned variety, that's definitely variety, isn't it? Wow, yeah. Incredible. Okay, well, you've mentioned the FF word now, so we can segue into that. That's okay. So let's talk about Final Fantasy. We've both got a love for it, haven't we? And so what was your journey into Final Fantasy? What was your first one? What's your favourites?
Okay, so I had never played a Final Fantasy game before I started streaming.
Yeah.
Never in my life. And I started streaming, and I was kind of working my way through some games. And I was trying to find out, like, I was trying to find something that really, really stuck. I'd been streaming Skyrim for so long, and I decided I'm going to mod my Skyrim game, and I modded it so much it completely overloaded, and it just kind of gave up. I lost everything, and I was like,
Oh man.
what do I do? I was like, I'm really enjoying streaming. I'm making loads of friends. It's a great escape because I started streaming during the pandemic and stuff like that. I was like, it's fantastic. And my moderator, Arson Assassin, was like, oh, have you played Final Fantasy? And this line has become infamous in my stream. So I went, what's Final Fantasy? Is that like Skyrim? And everyone was like, oh god. And
oh wow. Yeah.
I got this notification on Steam, like, Arson Assassin has just gifted you a game. And I was like, oh, and he was like, you're gonna have to find out now. So I started with Final Fantasy VII on stream. It was very daunting. It was really, 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 really daunting. Like, I had never experienced even a I didn't know what JRPG was. As I said, Tekken. I mean, I'd like to class myself as a gamer, but like I don't really know much about genres. I don't really know. I was like, I like what I like.
Yeah.
I don't like what I don't like. And people, and a lot of people, I think a lot of people on Twitch think you become a streamer, you are some form of font of knowledge, and it doesn't work that way. So
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I was like, oh, this is kind of boring. I was like, why do I have to like wait and like take turns? And now I can't play games that are too fast because I need a break with a turn-based game nowadays. But so I started with Final Fantasy VII, little tiny baby streamer, and I really enjoyed it. I did get, I'm not going to spoil it here in case people are watching and haven't, but I did get that moment spoiled for me.
Oh no! I'm so sorry.
Yeah, by accident. It was by accident. But it was by a moderator at the time, and I was like, oh god. So yeah, I was like, oh yeah, that was cool. That was fun. I did shed a few tears at the end of the game because I just felt so overwhelmed. Like as I said to you, like Fable 2 didn't really have an end. Skyrim doesn't really have an end. You can keep going. There is no strong like start, middle, end vibe to these games. And obviously, like when a Final Fantasy game ends, it is very much so an ending. It's very much so that's it. And I was just like, wow, I was really blown away, and I really enjoyed it. And then I played a couple of games in between. And I was like, ugh. I kind of want something that's going to see me through Christmas. And I started Final Fantasy X, and my whole entire life changed. My whole life changed.
Yeah.
Like I fell head over heels in love with this game. Like I feel like it's such a contrasting game, Final Fantasy X. The environments are so beautiful. The music is so gentle. Obviously not the battle theme and not the end game themes and stuff like that, but like to Zanakin and everything, it's all so gentle. But then like it makes the game hit so much harder because these people are just trying to live their life. They're just trying to get by, and like the Besaid music. Oh my God, I love it so much. And then all of a sudden it's just like, and then it goes back to being lovely. And then you're like, oh yes, I can relax again. Then it's like, gosh, and that's it. The end comes, and you're suddenly snotting down the microphone, bawling your eyes out, unable to speak, unable to comprehend. Because like I didn't really realize what was going on. Because a lot of people are like, how did you not see this was coming? This has been hinted at, and this has actually been said throughout the game for so long. This has been said like. I don't want to spoil it. I'm trying to be really careful with what I say. But like, so many times you're told this is a dream. This is a dream. This isn't real. And there are so many things. And I was like, real life. I was the best. And it just really, really captivated. Like the games they're just so good. Like I know that's really shit explanation.
No.
I just feel like they tick so many boxes, you know, and there's so many layers. Like I've never 100% completed a Final Fantasy game yet because they're so deep.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, there's so many like secret bosses, ultimate weapons, ultimate bosses, oh my god, mini games. The
Yeah.
submarine game in Final Fantasy 7. I nearly put my head through
Yeah.
screen. I nearly put my head through my PC screen. I was like, I hate this so much. I was like, ah! You know, and there's just so many layers to them. And like, I'm not gonna say I'm not part of the crew that is like, oh, these modern Final Fantasy games are just not the same. La 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 la. Because I have never this is how like new to Final Fantasy I am. I the only Final Fantasy experience that I have had when it first came out. I don't play the MMO. I don't play that. I'm discounting that. MMOs overwhelm me. The first like true experience of how Final Fantasy 7, the second it came out, was Final Fantasy 7 integrate the Yuffie DLC. That's like the only time I've been around the scene for when a Final Fantasy game has first come out. So I can't say I've had the same experience as everybody else when, you know, like 13 came out, 32, 33, 12, 15. Why did I go 13, 12? You know, 12, 15 and stuff like that. I can't say I've had the same experience, the same hype. So obviously, like, I don't know what to expect with Final Fantasy 16 coming out soon.
Yeah, it's not fair.
I've still not played them all. I've not played 1, 2, 3. I've not finished 12. I've not done 13-2, Lightning Returns and stuff like that. I've not done every single one yet. And that was the other side games. Oh my god.
That's so many, isn't it? Yeah.
So I just think they're really, really special. And like the community really comes together. The community loves Final Fantasy first playthroughs. They love being able to relive, because as whilst I was relatively new to it, a lot of the community have been there since day one almost. You know, Final Fantasy 6 was their first Final Fantasy game. Final Fantasy 7 was the first one when it came out and stuff like that. They absolutely adore first playthroughs. They love being able to see the game through someone else's eyes, and I think that's really nice and really, really refreshing. I love it. I just love it. I have played Final Fantasy X. I've only been streaming for like 2.5 years, and the plan is to play it every single year. Every single summer, play Final Fantasy X. It's like my ultimate comfort game now.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
I just think it's great. Even though 10-2 happened, I don't think it's as bad as people say. It is very frustrating. If you've not played a game with a job system, like I hadn't experienced a job system before in a game, it's very overwhelming. I rage quitted twice because the job system wasn't working for me. I wasn't comprehending the fact that you had to learn all of these job roles. You had to learn the skills within the roles. So I was just like, oh, this is a pretty costume. And I was selecting jobs that just had no synergy. They didn't work together, and I rage quit twice. And I have now finally finished it.
Yeah. Fair play. I've not finished 10-2 yet. Would you believe? I've got to the end 3 times. I got to chapter 5 3 times. First time I played it when it came out, and I was quickly saving, and I was going to a friend's house, and I was like, oh, okay, and I pulled the memory card out just a smidge too soon, and then I've got to the end twice after that, and just never finished it.
Really rough. That's crazy rough. But I got stuck in I don't want to say I got stuck in a Final Fantasy hole because that sounds very negative, but I got into a routine of playing a lot of them back to back, and I did end up incredibly burnt out. I got a full-time job where I was commuting 60 miles a day. I didn't have the time, I didn't have the energy, and I just didn't have the get up and go to commit to 40-hour-long JRPGs, especially such heavily emotional ones. You know, I was at my house from 7:30 till 6:30, and if traffic was bad, it was 7:30. So it did kind of become a bit of a little bit. I felt a bit negative towards it for a while because I felt a little bit salty because I was like, oh, I don't have the time for this. You know, I was trying to make myself feel better. I had like major FOMO that I was like, oh, I'm not doing it anymore. And then I played Metal Gear Solid instead, and that's great. It was good fun and stuff like that. And now work part-time, and I stream the other part of my time, I guess. You know, so we're back at it, and because I think a lot of people do find JRPGs quite daunting. I did.
Yeah.
There's a lot to learn. and not every JRPG is the same.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously, like, if you've got a gun in a game, you've got to shoot and fire and you know it's going to work. So I think it's just a case of, you know, just being brave. Like, I played Persona 5 Royal last summer, and I was so scared for so long to commit to a Persona game because I was like, they're so long.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, I love it so much. It's like up there with Final Fantasy X in terms of JRPGs for me. It's so good.
Yeah.
Like, there's my little joke that my camera's mirrored. There's my little Joker plushie.
Yeah.
I love it. I fell in love. I've cosplayed as the girls, and it did take me 150 hours, but it was so good, you know.
Yeah.
So I think if someone was to say to me, how do I start with these games? I'd say, as simple as it sounds, just take the plunge and just take the time and do not expect to be an expert the second you start. Like, I want to go back and play Final Fantasy VII, the original, for a second time, because I know I butchered my playthrough. Oh. I know everybody was watching like, oh God, what is she doing? You know what I mean? I know everybody was struggling. But that's life. If they didn't like it, they could have left.
True. But, you know, you bring a fascinating point that I can 100% relate to when it comes to, like, I've got, on my stream setup, I do RPG Fridays because I've got a bit more time on a Friday. So, because you're right, 100%, RPGs, they're such long games. And, like, I love RPGs. It's my favorite genre, but it took me this long to commit to finally start to play them on a consistent basis. But for that same reason, I love starting a new RPG. But I don't know how you find it, but I find towards the end of that RPG, like, I just want to finish it. I just want to move on to the next one. I just want to move on to the next one. And it's one of those like horrible, like you said, it's that that FOMO. It's that. Do you want to finish it? And I do, but I always want to pick the next one. So, I don't know how if you can relate to that at all, but yeah.
So I finished Persona 5. So Persona 5 has vanilla, if you don't know, which is like it came out first. So it had Royal, which came out with the extra content, quality of life improvements, dialogue improvements, and stuff like that. So I finished like the vanilla based game of Persona 5. I was a mess. I'm very in touch with my emotions. Okay, if you don't like girls crying, sorry, I cried at the end of Silent Hill 2, even though I knew what was happening. It's just me. You know, I don't do it for like engagement. You know, I've heard that about me before. You know, she only plays games because they make her cry, and I'm like, yo, Silent Hill 2 is not supposed to like make snot down the microphone, but here I am. You know, I can't help it.
I saw your TikTok, didn't I? Yeah. I was feeling it for you. I was like watching your TikTok going, Lizzy.
But anyway, so I finished episode 5, the vanilla, and I was like a mess, and I was like, right, let's move on to the royal content. And it's basically an extra dungeon, let's call them dungeons, with a little bit more plot and a few like what moments and stuff like that. As always with JRPGs, you don't really ever know what's coming. And I finished everything. And I was just sat there, and no spoil. It's not really a spoiler, but basically, at the end of the game, you kind of have to run around the city, and you have to go and just have one last chat with everybody. You know, it's kind of like a goodbye, and I was just sat like, okay, and I was just like going crazy. I was getting really, really annoyed with it, and I was like, I've loved every single second of this game. Like, it's one of my favorite games. I was like, but wrap it up, finish, get it done, put a bow on it, and let me tick it off my list. You know what I mean? Just for the pure fact that I was like, I want to start another one. Because sometimes, as I just said, especially JRPGs, they're very emotionally charged and stuff like that. So sometimes when you do get to the end of like your JRPG that you're playing, you just feel like it's been a workout, but it's been a great workout. You know, they make you work for it, I'd say. So as you just said, and as I made the point earlier, if you haven't got the time to dedicate to them, they can feel like a slog, because sometimes your stream, talking from a stream perspective, obviously not an offline perspective, but sometimes your stream is literally running from one objective to the next for 3 hours with loads of random encounters on the way. But if that's all you've got time for, it can feel like, oh, I've made no progress. I'm very much so someone on stream that is right, we're gonna make progress today. We're gonna make progress today, progress today, progress today. Like yesterday, I felt like I made no progress in Final Fantasy V. I've got to a difficulty spike. I've got to some random ruins, and it's like a freaking maze. And I finished my stream, and I was like, "Oh God, Lizzy, you made no progress today." And I was like, "No, Lizzy, you did so much level grinding by all the random encounters. Later down the line, you're gonna be grateful that this happened." I used to be really worried about grinding on stream. Like
Yes.
RPGs, a lot of you need to level up. You do need to level up. You need to work hard. But I was very anti-grind. I was very much so like, oh right, I've come to a grinding point. I'm going to finish the stream. I'm going to do it offline. I was like, why?
Yeah.
I was like, why? I was like, you can literally just basically switch your brain off at the game. Just go and just carry on talking to everybody.
Yeah.
Grinding points in JRPGs or even RPGs like Dark Souls had grind. Bloodborne, oh my God, so much grinding to try to level up. It may feel like you're being boring, but if you just take that time to like just socialize, it's all good. It's all good. It's a time to switch your brain off. As I said, some JRPGs make you work hard.
Yeah, totally. No, I 100% agree with what you just said there. In fact, I think my first proper RPG on stream was Legend of Dragoon. And I did have some people like, oh, the stream offline. The grind offline. I was like, no, because sometimes those are the best times sometimes those are the best chats with your community. Is when you're grinding. You just like just button mashing on was at one point and just concentrating on chat. Get some good chats going. So completely agree. Yeah,
100%. As I said, I hate it. I was like, oh, it's so boring. I was like, nobody's going to watch. But I'm very much so out of that mentality now. For a while, I was in the mentality of, oh my God, I don't want to upset anybody watching me. I don't want anyone to think I'm boring. I don't want anyone to be like, oh God, what's she doing? Whereas now, as I said, I stream in a green inflatable pea suit. I scream, I shout. I will grind because at the end of the day, I'm streaming because it's what I like to do. I'm streaming because I get to socialize with people that have become really good friends of mine. If bloody Tom from Idaho clicks on my stream and is like, yo, this is boring, it makes no difference to me. It makes no difference to me if someone's gone, oh my God, this grinding is so boring. Like I used to be so worried about it. I used to be so like, oh, every stream something big's got to happen. Every stream there's got to be like that moment where everyone goes like, oh, the crowd goes wild. Whereas now I'm just like, oh, if you don't like it, you can leave. And that's going on a slight tangent. I think that's what's really nice about Twitch. And in streaming in general, whether you stream on Facebook Gaming, YouTube, Twitch, if you don't like what you're watching, there is literally thousands of other people. You will find your people. You will find the content you like. You do not have to sit there and go like, oh my God, this is so boring. Why you're watching this? You don't have to sit there and be like, oh, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, I'm going to go watch this to the streamer now. Great. That's the point of the platform. If you don't find something you like, if even long-time regulars, if all of a sudden your content changes, as my content's been like crazy, if you don't like it, I mean, as disappointing as it is to hear that, the joy of Twitch for you as a viewer is you can go and find something you do like.
Yes.
And the great point about it is, the really good point, if you don't find something you like, if you don't find something that's satisfying that little idea of what you want to watch in your head, make it yourself before you criticize somebody else.
Yeah. I hope you're listening, Tom from Idaho. 100% agree. Yeah.
I've never met Tom from Idaho.
No, I know. I just love it. Okay. Let's talk about streaming then. So what was your first stream like? Was it a pandemic thing? Was it just coincidence or what was your first stream like?
So basically, I didn't even know Twitch was like a thing. Like, obviously, Twitch was like just in TV for ages. I didn't even know it was a thing. Like, as a teenager growing up, I was never into like YouTubers. Like, oh, what YouTuber do you used to watch? Oh, PewDiePie. No, it was never my thing. It was never what I was into. I was into playing the games myself and stuff like that. So pandemic, I was working a very, very stressful job. I was working in a hotel, which was obviously closed. But I was working in the admin office, basically, hi, yep, we're closed, hi, yep, we're closed, hi, yep, we're closed, and trying to reorganize people's bedrooms, reorganize people's whole weddings, and people were mean. People weren't understanding. They couldn't get married. I was like, I'm really sorry. It's not me canceling your wedding. It's COVID, the police, and Boris Johnson. Yell at them, not me. Like, this is supposed to be the happiest day of my life. And I'm like, I understand. You're frustrated. I said, but there is a line of how you can talk to me. But anyway, so I was stressed. I was doing it part-time as and when I wanted, as long as I was in there 4 days a week and in there for about 4 hours a day. So it's very, very part-time, very fluid. So I was coming home, there wasn't really a concept of time. There wasn't really a concept of time during the pandemic. So night times were always like, I've not really done much all day but get yelled at. I'm not very happy. I was like, I really, really want to play some. I was like, I want to play some like really old school games. So I literally Googled Resident Evil 2 how to play. And I had a 2030. So bearing in mind, when was the pandemic? 2020. Yeah, Jesus, yeah, 2020. Oh my God.
Sorry.
Yeah, so and I had a 2013 MacBook Pro with a big crack in the screen. It was on its it's dead. It was on its last legs. The poor thing was whipped to death. And I was trying to find out how to play these games. I was like, oh, I don't think I can do it on a MacBook Pro. I was like, ugh, it's not for gaming, whatever. So I found a Facebook gaming community. They were streaming Resident Evil. They were really, really cool. And they were like, yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. And I was like, this is a thing. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this is great. So, the pandemic, you don't really get much human interaction. And the only human interaction I got at work was people shouting at me over the phone. So I was like, oh, this is really nice. So I started watching them. And then I became a community member. I joined the Discord. And my really, really, really good friend, Ryan, I met him through streaming. And he was a Facebook gaming streamer. I messed that up. And he got banned from Facebook Gaming for sharing his Facebook gaming stream on Facebook. He was streaming Dead by Daylight, and they have an anti-spam policy. But as I don't know if many people know, there's a lot of streaming groups on Facebook. There's a lot of streaming groups on Facebook. He was sharing his links there, and in the end, he got banned. And he was like, "Great." And everyone was like, "Just make another page and just start again." He was like, "No, I'm gonna go to Twitch." And I was like, what? What's that? And then I started watching him on Twitch, and then I discovered an Eternal Enigma, Bought Soup, Super Sleepy Tea, and Fungo. I don't think Fungo streams anymore, but yeah. So I discovered those, and I was like, this is a thing. I was like, this is a huge thing. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, this is amazing. And I was still in this Facebook gaming community, and I was watching Brian on Twitch, and I was like, I really want to play games with you all. There was never an intention to stream. And I was like, I really want to play games with you. I really want to play. And I managed to save up the money because I didn't qualify for furlough, which is why I was working during the pandemic. I didn't qualify for it because I didn't start my job. There was a small week cutoff date, whereas if you started your job in this week, you didn't get furlough. That was me. So that's why I was at work. So I managed to scrape together all of my wages, and I got a PC, and we got it all up and running. And I was like, what the hell is Dead by Daylight? How do you play this? And Ryan was like, let me teach you how to play Dead by Daylight. Some of the guys are playing, we were playing it. It was before all the graphical updates. It was back when it looked like it was made on Microsoft Paint. Back before all the terminology, back before all the competitiveness. Oh my God. I watched my other moderator once City Girl plays Dead by Daylight, and I hear some of the terminology that comes out of my mouth now, and I'm like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Most of my terminology was like, oh shit, it's here. So basically, Ryan was like, oh yeah, I'm going to stream it. He was like, do you want to? Because I was like, oh, I really want to play Dead by Daylight today. And he was like, oh, I'm streaming tonight. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine, no problem. And he was like, why don't you play it with me? And I was like, yeah, okay. And he was like, yeah, join Discord so people can hear us talk. And I was like, okay. So we did that for a bit, and everyone was like, oh, this isn't me being big-headed, by the way. He was like, oh, yeah, everyone thinks you're really funny. Everyone thinks you're really, really funny. Because I'm very easily scared. So I've got incredibly bad focus, but once I focus on one thing, everything else is switched off, right? So I get really into things. So I get jumpy. I get, as we said, emotional. I'm very much so a reactive dreamer. So he was like, yeah, get started. So I got a Razer Kiyo webcam. I got this massive. I'll have to find a picture. I got this massive freaking Turtle Beach, is it? Turtle Beach headset. And I looked literally like Princess Leia, like these huge, massive freaking like earphones on my head. Like and a little Britney Spears microphone, which by the way, if someone can make a headset with a decent Britney Spears microphone attached to it, I'm sold, because I like to fidget like that having a microphone attached to my head. Perfect. But anyway, and this headset was so heavy. I used to get migraines, I used to get backache, neckache. I used to be like, ugh. And I started streaming, and I have house rabbits. So at the time, my rabbit lived in my bedroom. So I didn't want my PC up there. So I streamed in the kitchen. I streamed in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So how it was, like a room divider, like a folding room divider.
Yeah.
I had like a black, just a plain black one of them behind me. I had no sound treatment. So my house is quite small, but the rooms are really big. So it sounded tinny. And like, I'm not a snob. I didn't start with this. I didn't need this. This was bought for me by an ex-partner. Like, I am very blessed to have this. I'm not going to tell you need the best of the best. All right, I don't care. Stream with what you want to stream with. But it sounded awful. It was very crackly as well. And I just remember being like hyperventilating, freaking out, like, I can't do this. And my mum was like, nobody's going to watch you anyway. And I was like, watch me. And then, it went really, really well. One of my most popular clips actually is from, I think, like my second stream. And you can barely see me. My Razor Kia ring light used to bleed. So because the backdrop was just black, as you can see, I'm incredibly pale against black. So if I put the ring light on the Razor Kia, it would bleach me against this black background. So I was basically just sat in the dark. I was in the dark with my little Britney Spears headset. Well, my massive Britney Spears headset. I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't understand why people clicked on my stream. I don't know why they chose to follow me. But someone from the Facebook gaming community shared it in Facebook gaming groups. But they said, I know it's Twitch, but, and a group came over, and yeah. Rest is history, really. I didn't really enjoy Dead by Daylight. I didn't really enjoy streaming it on my own. My friend Ryan has a very important job in the city. So, once everything started to open back up, he was like, yeah, I'm not going to stream anymore. I was like, yeah, that's fine. He was like, I was only doing it to kill time and hang out with my friends. I was like, yeah, no bother. So I was like, I don't want to play this on my own.
Yeah.
So that's when I did Skyrim, and that's when the journey began.
Indeed. Wow. What a story. Goodness me. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, so is there any so from that journey then? So because that was what, 2.5 years ago, wasn't it? So what are your favorite? August 2020. So what are your favorite streaming moments? I mean, I've seen some of the clips. I've seen some of the trailers and some of the highlights. I mean, and that you mentioned the suits already, some of the cosplays. You've got so much content that you could talk about. But yeah, what are your favorites? What are your favorite moments?
So the one moment that made me sit there and go like, wow, this could actually be like a real thing. So in the end, I lost my temper with the hotel. I was like, I'm done with hotel life. I went and signed on an agency. I got a night shift warehouse job. I'm 5'1". I'm tiny. I wear children's clothes. In a furniture warehouse. So I'm this little tiny girl driving this truck around a furniture warehouse. It was night shift, and essentially, we were still in the pandemic, but warehouses were, I don't know if it's the same across the world, but warehouses were still allowed to operate. And I would work 4 on, 4 off. So on my days off, because we were in the pandemic, I just stuck to my night shift schedule and just streamed all night, slept all day, and just carried on doing it that way. And some days I couldn't sleep when I got home. Night shift ruins your sleeping pattern. Like, I still sometimes feel like I live on night shift schedule. It's crazy how long it affects you for.
Yeah.
So I would sometimes stream when I got home. So like 7 a.m, I'd be there like absolutely cracked out on caffeine, like with a cup of tea and my breakfast toast. Everyone was like, when did you go to sleep? And I'm like, 24 hours ago, actually. I last went to sleep 24 hours ago. And this one day I was like, oh, I ain't got work tomorrow. I was like, I don't want to live the night shift life. I was like, I've got some plans. I had some family plans. So I was like, I need to sleep like a normal human being these 4 days off and ruin my life for the 4 days I'm at work. So I was like, right, I'm going to stay up and stream. I was like, I just can't be asked. So I put my pajamas on, made my tea, made my toast. I think I'd been streaming, God, about 2-3 weeks, maybe, because basically I started streaming and then I kind of was like, oh yeah, it's all right. Took like a week off, then went back to it and stuff. And so I'm playing Skyrim, I'm getting my ass kicked. There's like 14 people sat chilling. Everyone's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And then all of a sudden, An Eternal Enigma came and dropped about 400 people on me.
Wow. Oh,
like this
wow.
huge raid. And like I freaked out. Like I'd never really had like huge raids and stuff like that. And I'd only ever really watched him silently. I mean, we would chat a little bit. I'd try and talk a little bit in the stream. And yeah, he just came and I was tired. I was in my pajamas and I was absolutely running on fumes and I just freaked out. And then all of a sudden, just now, this isn't now, I'm not saying it's about making money, but all of a sudden, just all these bits, all these subs, all of these donations, like the community went wild. I started bawling my eyes out because like I'd never experienced anything like this in my life. Like
Yeah.
I'm crying, I'm getting follows, my alerts break, everything breaks. My mum comes in the kitchen and my mum's going like, what? In the background, like, what's going on? Like, it was like a proper, like,
Yeah.
crazy. Like, I feel not to like say, oh, it was a huge thing, but I feel like if that had happened now and it was put on Twitter, I feel like Twitter would have been like, wow, that's so sweet. So basically, I'm freaking out. I am sobbing. It's like an hour. Everyone is still there. The raid didn't drop off. Everyone was just like, wow, we broke this girl. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
And then like, yo, I was shaking and I was like, that's it. So it's about 11 in the morning now. And I'm like, I'm getting a glass of wine. So I'm still awake. I go to the fridge, I get a glass of wine, I start drinking this wine. Obviously, I'm tired. I've not had anything to eat. The adrenaline's going, the emotions are high. I'm getting tipsy at 11 in the morning. I'm like, woo! Everyone's like, wow, this is great. Obviously, like having that many viewers pushed me right to the top of the category. So more new people were coming in. I
Wow.
was
Yeah.
completely freaking out. And my mum was just sat off camera, just like, I think I need a drink, but I really shouldn't because it's 11 in the morning for me. And I've only been awake for a few hours, but you've been awake for hours. And then that's how I met like Fungo and Sleepy Tea. And we all ended up. So there's little Lizzy, a little baby streamer with a Britney Spears microphone in her pajamas, kind of getting a bit wavy on wine, suddenly playing Fall Guys with hundreds of people and hundreds of people are watching. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on? Like, still
Yeah.
freaking out. And like, I've never been so overwhelmed in my life. And I never understood like the power of Twitch to make you feel so. I didn't sleep for 36 hours after that.
Oh my
Even
God.
after drinking wine. I was like, oh my God, and like freaking out. And like he did it again, like last summer, he raided me again. Whilst I wasn't driven to drink, it was still crazy,
Yeah.
and like it was just wild. I've never experienced anything like that. And then probably my next favorite experience on Twitch would be finishing Final Fantasy X for the first time. Back to Final Fantasy. Finishing Final Fantasy X for the first time was really, really special to me. And also not I did a charity stream for my friend Burger Pits.
Yeah.
Not this
Oh, that's
year,
Burger Pits.
He's a funny guy, isn't he?
Awesome guy. Shout out to Burger Pits.
It was just really lovely and it just felt really nice. And I'm not very, as you can tell, I'm not very organized. I'm quite scatterbrained, so I don't feel like personally I have it in me to organize a charity stream. I know you do them as well. I don't personally feel like I would like prefer someone to say to me, this is what we're doing, and this is how we're doing it. So it was really, really nice to be able to do that. I've not done one since because, as I said, I just don't have the brain power to organize one myself. So if you want to make me a Welshie for a day, you know.
Oh, I wish you had some Welsh blood in you. I'd love you to join us.
You know what I mean? So, like, there is many, like, I think the first power of Twitch was just experiencing what it was like to be like the top. Like, I know the top end of Twitch is like freaking Ninja and that lot, but like to me, the top end of Twitch is having that huge community behind you. It's not about having 20,000 viewers, because at the end of the day, you read these people's chats that have got tens of thousands of viewers, and most of the time it's quite toxic.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, so the first memory is definitely the power of a good community. The second memory is the power of a really powerful experience. And then the third memory is the power of what Twitch can do, the good that Twitch can do for things off of Twitch. And that's it.
Incredible. Wow. I've looked at the time and I'm like, oh my God. I won't ask two more questions, but I'm going to quickly go through them if I can. So the first one is, because we've had lots of fantastic advice, Lizzy, from you today in terms of what advice you'd like to give to anyone thinking about streaming. But if you can give one more bit, what would it be?
Don't censor yourself for other people. As long as you're not being bigoted, as long as you're not being a bully, do not censor yourself for other people. Do not tone yourself down. You know, everyone's allowed good days and bad days. Everyone has quiet days. You know, I've had them myself where I've just been like, hi, yeah, how you doing? Let's play the game. And then I have days where I am fully unhinged. Hi. So just don't ever censor yourself for other people. If people have an expectation of you in their head, if people have an image of you in their head, that's on them. That's not on you. You know, for a long time, I tried to play myself down. I tried to be this quiet, very gentle, very like, hey woo sort of gal, and that's not really me. You know, I'm always grabbing my microphone, I'm always staring deep into the camera and just being quite loud. And I think for a very long time, especially, I'm not playing a card here, but especially as a woman online, I think there is further expectations for you to fulfill. And it's very easy to fall into the trap to try and fit in with the people that are around you. But at the end of the day, as I said earlier, if people don't like what you're doing, they can leave. And okay, having people come in and out is hard. And if it's like good friends and stuff like that, then yes, you should try and work out what's going on. But at the end of the day, just like in real life and in real society, people change. What people want from you changes. And as long as you are just being you, and as I said, no one's getting hurt, affected by it, just go for it. Just do you. You do you. Stream it for you.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, don't be worried about grinding. Don't be worried about being too loud. Don't be worried about being in your face. Just go for it.
Yeah.
And likewise, you don't have to be this big personality to stream on Twitch. Some of my favorite streamers are very like Sinao, very, very calm, very, very chill, very, very just like, I don't know. I go to her streams. She streams survival horror. She streams story games, Capcom games, mainly like Devil May Cry and Resident Evil, Silent Hill and stuff like that. 2 hours long her streams are, and sometimes they just feel like a nice little hug. Just because she's being herself, you know. So you don't have to be some crazy persona. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to be bouncy. You can just do what you want to do. Don't let anybody tell you can't.
Perfect. Yeah, that's incredible advice. I completely 100% agree with that. I have one final question for you. So,
right, let's do it.
If you were stuck on a remote island and you could only have 3 games on that island, and you're stuck on it, I'm sorry, you're stuck on that island forever, what would those 3 games be and why? And there's also one little caveat: you can have internet connection on this island. You can.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Okay, well, Skyrim.
Yes.
You can mod that. As long as you do it properly, you can mod that game to become a completely different game every single time you play it.
Yep.
You can get functional mods, cosmetic mods, new quest lines, mods that are essentially whole DLCs. That game is incredible. Please give me the next one. Not an MMO. Give me more of Elder Scrolls. No MMO. Just give me another game. Number 2. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I don't want to be basic, and I'm sure you're sick of me hearing talk about it, but Final Fantasy X.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
If I'm stuck on a desert island, I want some comfort, and that's my comfort game. And then I don't really know what I'd have as my third game. I know you said there would be online capabilities, so maybe I would have to just get over my hatred. I don't hate MMOs. I just feel overwhelmed. Maybe I need an MMO in my life. But then I'm like, oh God, but what if you still get there and your brain hurts when you play it? So I would say maybe one of the Silent Hill games, just because either two, well, two is my favorite, then it's one, then it's three. Three isn't really my favorite. I feel like it's just really hard. But I would say probably three actually, because I think three has got the most secrets, the most things you can unlock, the different endings, the different costumes. I saw a tweet the other day that if you're in the sewers and you throw your pipe away at a certain point, you get visited by this mysterious angel thing, and you have like this conversation. And I have never seen that in my life.
I'd have seen it. I think I saw the same tweet. Yeah, I was like, what?
I literally posted it in my Discord. I was like, I think I need to play this again. And everyone was like, yeah, but Lizzie, you struggled so hard. And I was like, you're right. But you know what I mean? Like, I did struggle. It was, but I did it. I did it. I killed God. But yeah, so I think they would be my three: Skyrim for the modding capabilities and the customization, Final Fantasy X because if I'm stuck on a desert island, I'm gonna need a hug, and Silent Hill 3 because the secrets in that game blow my mind.
Amazing. I love all three of those games, so I'm not complaining. Yeah. Lizzie, thank you so much. Thank you so much. One more time, can you tell us where we can find you? But yeah, what a chat.
My main avenue is twitch.tv/LunarLizzy. You can come there for some chaos, some shouty British girl crying, if that's what you're into. I am on Twitter. I post bunny rabbits. I post cosplays. I post word vomit, brain vomit, I guess it's not words. Instagram, that's where all my cosplays mainly are, and my going live tweets, going live pictures. And YouTube, that's where my archive is. So if you do want to see my Final Fantasy X playthrough, if you do want to see me snot down the microphone and be like, I need some tissues, Mom, give me some tissues, then it's all over there. As I said, YouTube is going to start to become an actual thing and not just an archive soon. So do keep an eye out over there.
Perfect. Thank you so much again.
I had so much fun. I don't know how to shut up, so thank you.
I loved it. Thank you so much. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed watching it, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.